Way back in the early days of my YouTube channel, I designed this thing right here. I called it the programmable redstone display, and I have to say, considering this thing's about 4 or 5 years old, it's still pretty impressive. Down at the bottom, we've got ourselves a handful of buttons. If we hit one of these buttons, you can see that the image on the screen changes, and we get one of the pre-programmed images. Now, there are a handful of problems. Number one is the fact that these pixels are absolutely massive. We've got 3x3 pixels, which, let's be honest, that's huge. And at the time, I didn't think they could get much smaller. But also, the pre-programmed images are all we can show on the screen. There's not too much room for customization. You kind of get what you're given. That's all about to change. Today, after a lot, and I mean a lot, of very hard work, I have managed to build something that I previously thought was completely impossible, and I have to say, I'm extremely excited to show you this. So here it is. I like to call it the Pixel Painter machine, and that's because each one of those buttons that you see on the floor there corresponds to each one of those redstone lamps. So if you press one of those buttons, it will light up the specific redstone lamp that relates to that button. If you press that button again, then it will turn off that redstone lamp, meaning that you essentially can draw pictures in redstone lamps in Minecraft. So let me give you a quick example, and the industry standard for showing off drawing machines is to make use of the smiley face. So I'm going to do a little bit like this. I'm going to give him big 3x3 eyes, and then we'll switch on these ones as well. So that will be that 3x3 area over there, and then I'm going to give him a big cheesy grin. So I would say something a little bit like this. So I'm gradually making my way down. That should do all of those redstone lamps. And I actually can't remember how high up I went on the side. I can't remember. Right, let's see. If we press all of these, I'm assuming that's good. Let's see. Have I gone a little bit too high on the redstone lamps on the left-hand side? Yes, I have. All right, so we have gone 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we just press those two buttons, then eventually those redstone lamps will be switched off. And you know what? I'm actually not liking the big square eyes. So I'm thinking we get rid of the outsides. Yeah, the outsides don't look particularly good. So let's go 1, 2, 3. And let's go 1, 2, 3 on this side as well. And that should get rid of those. And we should end up with a fairly cool looking smiley face. Now, it does take a little bit of time because, as you can see, this thing is pretty massive. But you know what? I'd say the performance is relatively impressive considering its size. Alright, so that's the smiley face done. What if I want to change it up, do a completely new drawing? Do I have to go back through pressing all of the buttons to delete all the things that I don't want? Because that won't be particularly efficient. Thankfully, I've already thought of this and I've added in a reset button. All we have to do is hit this button right here and we'll see eventually that this thing will kick into action and we'll get a nice wipe going from this corner here all the way up to the top, and it should give us a completely clean slate to work with. So now we can create some new images. For example, this one, writing and also a smiley face. Or for example, this one, my best attempt at creating your favorite kitchen utensil, a spoon. Now of course it is still tricky, we've only got a 10x10 pixel area to work with, it's not exactly 4K. Or this one. Now I can't quite make out what that one says. Sub me? Subscribe to me, maybe? Subscribe to my YouTube channel? I don't know. I mean, this one wasn't done by me. I mean, as if I would be guilty of that sort of shameless self-promotion. I mean, let's just be totally honest. That would be completely out of character. Anyway, subscribing to my YouTube channel, liking this video, leaving a comment down the comment section, and following me on Twitter aside, I really quite like this thing. And now I'm going to try my best to explain to you how on earth it all functions. I'm a tiny bit nervous for this one because I'm never particularly good at explaining my redstone contraptions, and this one is considerably more complicated than most. And if you don't want to listen to me ramble on about how the redstone works but you just want to play with it yourself, there's a world download in the description. Knock yourself out. Now it all started with this game mechanic right here. When we turn on a redstone lamp, it turns on instantly, but when we turn it off, there's a tiny bit of delay. It's really tricky to see, but you can see that we actually have 1 tick of delay between me flicking off the lever and the redstone lamp turning off, which means that I can do things like that. Can you see? I've managed to turn off and on that lever without it actually being visible in the redstone lamp. And that got me thinking, I wonder if I can create super fast redstone clocks that will keep a redstone lamp on. Which of course I could. Now this design is very loud, but it's also very handy to have because it's only 2 blocks high and it's only 1 block wide, and most importantly, it can be stacked next to one another and it can be toggled as well, which is very important for this design. So here we have all of the redstone clocks lined up, here is the output, and the output of that runs into really big long observer strings, which are essentially transmitting the signals from that redstone clock all the way around here into this area, along like this, and then they travel down like this, up like this, along here, and then into our display. Why the long trip? Well, it's because we had to essentially flip the redstone signal. Time for another example. Now we've got ourselves a scale model of the display. Now the thing that made it tricky is that I wanted this lever here to correspond to that pixel, and this lever here to correspond to that pixel. Now if we take it over to the slightly larger one, the reason that I wanted this is because if this button corresponded to that pixel, and this button corresponded to that top pixel, if we had drawn out our smiley face here, it would have come out upside down on the screen. And that's no good. But despite it being no good, it would have been really easy to build, because if we want to connect up this front lever here up to this bottom pixel, all we have to do is do that, and then to connect up the back one to the top pixel, we just have to do something like this. No crossovers there, Bob's your uncle, you've got yourself a working display. However, if we want to do it the correct way, then we run into a bit of a challenge, because we have to run the redstone signal out like this, and into this top one, and then we have to run this back lever out like this, we have to do some form of crossover in the center, and connect that one into that one. It's a massive headache. But I managed to solve it, and that is using this observer setup right here. Now what this will do is it will flip over all of the redstone signals. So for example, if we hit this button in this corner, that will send an input through into this observer, and you can see that this observer is the one that's being powered, but then the output after this processing has happened will be over on this side. So the actual redstone output is flipped, because whereas it started on the right hand side, it is now on the left hand side. Obviously we've gone around a corner here. So now we have the output on the left, which means that we flipped over our redstone signals, and now it's the correct way up, and we aren't mirroring the image. Brilliant. After that's all happened, it's just a simple case of transporting that observer signal through all of these observers and making its way over onto the screen. Then 6 or 7 hours of debugging and trying to work out what on earth has gone wrong later, you've got yourself a pixel painting display that actually functions. Oh, but before I forget, there's one other feature of this thing that I personally really quite like. In fact, it's probably one of my personal favorites, and that is the clearing feature. And to be honest with you, it's super simple. All it does is it retracts all of these redstone blocks. So all of these pistons extend and retract, so any blocks that are sticking out will be retracted, and then it spits out all of the redstone blocks, which will power all of our redstone clocks, meaning that we aren't going to get any redstone lamps lit up on the screen. Really simple, but looks cool. So we go. I think that just about covers everything. If you're still a little bit confused, then of course I'll try my best to answer down in the comment section, and of course there will be a world download down in the description if you do want to see all of the redstone for yourself. And if you want to draw your own things, please do submit your drawings to me on Twitter, because I'd love to see all of the creations that you come up with. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please sure to hit that like button, and if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later.